Right, good morning and welcome back to a brand new episode of Ads Metal Detecting. I'm Ads, and on today's episode we are back up on the Field of Dreams. Today was supposed to be the start of Digathon, so we should have been there. Unfortunately that event was cancelled. Can't change anything about that, that's just the way it is. So we're back up here today. Not sure where we are tomorrow. There is another weekender in South Lincolnshire, but I'm not sure whether we're going on to it or not. Time and permitting and things like that, just are we able to manage to get there? So I'm not sure yet, but today we're up here, the medieval field, the lost medieval village, the Field of Dreams. Now we've been here 3 times since it opened back up, and we had 4 hammereds, we then had 3 hammereds, then 2 hammereds, and we had the seal, various Roman coins, little bits of artefacts. It's been really good. I'm expecting a day where we don't find too much. Now that could come pretty soon, simply because it probably needs a little bit of a plough, turning over, whatever it needs. I think it needs that, but there is still stuff here. It's going to be very hard work to get to it, which I don't mind at all. So we're not being pessimistic, we're just being realistic. And the expectations set low, so anything we do find is an absolute bonus today. We're out, there is no moisture in the atmosphere, but it is a cool day rather than boiling hot 32, 33 degrees, because it has been unbearable. Now, I have bought my charger for my microphone. If you've seen the last episode, I didn't check it. So I've got my power bank, got all my cables, and I think I'm going to check it after 6 hours, probably have a little bit of break, put it on charge, and then keep going. I am up here all day. It is very early in the morning, I think about 8 o'clock now, and it will be a minimum of probably 8 o'clock this evening, daylight permitting, where my wife's joining me in a little while. So, you know, we're going to stay out all day and see what we can find. It should be a good episode, I'm hopeful. Yeah, let's get on with it. You know, please subscribe, help the channel grow. Let's get to 1,000 very quickly, so I can run that, and we can get some great prizes off to the loyal subscribers, you guys sat at home watching now. And if you're not one of those guys that have subscribed already, then please do so, it helps immensely. I'm not going to waffle on about sponsors and everything. Much to say, that's Dragon Detecting's logo, and you can find Dragon, Relics and Swing and Dig and the discount codes all in the descriptions. So if you fancy 10% off at any of those companies, you can go and use our code, which is AMD10. Now, I've kept you long enough. I want to get on the field, I want to get detecting. Let's go and see if we can find some history. So I'll see you in a little minute. Right guys, we are going to go live for the first bit till we get a signal. Now what I'm doing is, the last episode you will have seen, just down in this direction, a little bit to this side, is where the 2 hammered and the Roman coin came up. So my focus is going to be lines straight down here near the big tree, up and down, working my way out towards the centre bit where the 2 trees meet. If you've watched previous episodes you'll understand. So we're going to go live now, and we're going to walk down, and we're going to see the first signal together. So let's go. Now, it's all, last time I did this, it did take a while to get that first signal, so we're hoping it's not taking that long today. It's the anticipation builds when you're looking for that first signal. Slow and steady wins the race. I always try to remember to just slow down that touch. You know, you're always a little bit, you know, excited what we're going to find first, but no, just slow down tiny little bit. And I just want to clarify something as well. Last time I did this, I mentioned that I was on 28 sensitivity. Now to some people that will be quite high, and I mentioned that 24 was quite low. It depends what your ground is, so I do need to clarify that up. This isn't a busy, trashy, heavily mineralised field, so I'm okay to do that. Some people won't be. Whatever is best for you and your settings is what you do. Whatever you're comfortable and confident in, because if you're not, you ain't finding that history. So for where I was before, 24 was low, but the 28 that I'm running is perfect for me here. And you can probably hear it's not that busy. It's not chattery running at that. There is some fields you'll go on, you won't be able to do that. You'll have to bring it down. And the best thing I can say is, whatever you start at, you need to adjust to. So if you at let's say 26 and it's too chattery, you need to adjust it. You need to adjust on the go and use your ears to do that. And I must remember not to doubt this field. Very, very trashy, that one. Very. Nope, we're not digging that one. We are at the side, so there is going to be some of those trashy, awful ones. We're not going to dig those. We're looking for those nice, repeatable tones. Don't want to be digging up lots of trash. We're looking for a nice, especially for his first dig with you. For anybody that hasn't watched the last episode, the seal was absolutely stunning. Leave that one for now. I may come back to that one. It's a nice one, nice solid one. It's a bit messy. We're going to leave that one. That is very, very messy. Yes, so for anybody that watched the last episode where the seal was found, if you haven't watched that episode, it's very much worth going back to. And it said Amis Skinner or Skinier. Absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning. So if you haven't watched that, go back and watch that after you've watched this episode, because it's absolutely stunning. Not my find, my wife's find. Absolutely brilliant. And I've been searching for one of those on here ever since we first started coming up here. I knew there'd be one on here. I just knew it. And it's just, you know, a little bit gutted that I couldn't, but so happy that we have found one up here, because I just knew there was one up here. And on this field, I'm expecting that we're looking for those little cut halves. I've said before, cut halves, cut quarters, just the tiny remnants that are left before it needs a good churning over. And I'm conscious now, we've been going for a fair while, and I have ignored a couple of tones that probably I would have dug, just because there was a little bit of something. Just some of these tones are not great. I know that they're just too trashy, way too trashy. Doesn't mean I'm not going to dig them. But you can hear that iron air, that screeching. They're just not nice tones. They're just not the best tones. They're not those repeatable whistling tones that we're looking for. It's very, very quiet at the moment. And this is what I found when I came up the other day, until I went back and then it just opened up again. And that is one I was looking for. That's worth a dig. 14s, 15s, 16s. It is slightly messy on that screen, but straight out. And this will be our first target, and it's took a fair while to get. So we're in this bit here, and that there is what we have to dig. So you've seen this before, and it's just that little piece of lead. There we go, a little bit of lead. Let's carry on, see what we can find here. First target, a little bit of lead. Let's keep going. Alright guys, target down here. I think we've struck hammered early. We're not that long into the day. Just down there there's a target. 10s, 11s. And it's just this one. So you can see there in the clump there as it's sticking out. I think that's a cut quarter. And we're just down here. We're not near the big tree for a change. We're not far away from it, let's be honest. But we're in this line. I'm on my second line down. First decent signal. It's this one. 10s, 11s, and I think it's safe to say that that's a cut quarter. See if we've got a little bit of an imprint. We've tried to move this away very carefully. There we go, look, and you can see the bleed out of the coin there as well. But we've got a little imprint just there. Not the greatest, but you can still see where it's just been sat. There. And then this is what's just come out. And you can clearly see that it's hammered, even before we've cleaned that up. Let's get some water, let's get that cleaned up. Let's see what we've got. And as I've said before, the most likely is going to be a Henry III. We get a lot, which shows you that this field, the main date of activity on this field, which is probably that period. And there we go, we can see it coming through there. There we go, look, just there. On the other side. Last little bit of cleaning. Doesn't look great on that side, but it's a cut quarter. It's another hammered coin off this field. There we go, look. And you can see there, that is a voided long cross there. And then on the other side, our detail just there. We can see the star just there, which will help us to perhaps ID this, but we know it's Henry III. I'm almost certain it's Henry III, because I think it's a voided long cross, and you can just see the remnants of that there. It's been cut there, but that is absolutely fantastic. We're not long into the day. This is our first decent find, well, our first decent sounding target after going live, and we're already on the hammered. And this is why I love this field so much. This is my favourite field in the world. This is my calm, my tranquility, and this is where a lot of history does come up. But there we go, we're going to take some pictures, we're going to move on, because I have no doubt there is more here. But we are on to the hammered. These little cut quarters, absolutely fantastic. Let's keep going. On to the next. Right guys, I've switched camera. You know the drill. We find a signal, it's nothing. When it's off camera, we find it. So, I've got a signal down here. In the effort to try and find some live digs for you. 10s, 11s, 12s. Just there. Let's have a see what we've got. We are just there. And somewhere in this section. And my bet is a little bit of lead. We have disappeared again. Normally those little bits of lead are the hard ones to find. We are just there, I can see it. And it is that bit there. So, a live dig that isn't lead. But we're not much more than a bit of scrap, although it's got that rounded feature, but I think that's just the way it's looking. I don't think that is much more than a bit of copper nothingness. This is what happens when we put the camera on. We don't unearth stuff that I'd like you to see, but I'm going to try, and I've dropped it. I don't know what this field is. I always drop stuff on this field for some unknown reason, but we'll pick that up, we'll carry on, see what else we find. Alright guys, we're on to another little signal just down here. And just see it just there. Move this out of the way, can give you VDIs. Solid 14. Part this up and go down. It's just this one. There we go, little bottom. But I'm not sure whether we've got a bit of a design on here or not. There we go. That's what we like to see. No design whatsoever. I thought there might have been a little bit on there. Just a button, just a little button. But there we go. Let's carry on to the next. Right guys, we've got another little signal just down here. Again, I'm near the big tree. It's just that way. But solid 21s just down there. And it's that one. I think what we've got there, let's get closer in, is a clog clasp. And I think we're probably looking at post-medieval period, although I could be wrong, but that's what I think we've got there. Little clog clasp. It's a nice little find. I do like finding these. It's an artefact on here. I especially like finding artifacts on here because we find a lot of hammered coins. We find a lot of Henry III hammered coins on here. So this, something a little bit later and something that somebody would have worn. So that's what I think. That is a little clog clasp. Happy with that. Magnificent little find. Love it. Absolutely love it. And there we go. Post-medieval clog clasp. Right, little signal down there. Looks a bit rusty, but it's not. Show you what it is. There's your VDIs. 35s, 36s. And it's just this, which is a little pigeon ring. Now I do know there is a few people who like to trace these. So we've got GB82 H00023. There we go. So if you want to look at it, and if you want to do that, yeah, it's absolutely fine by me. It's not something I do, but I do know a lot of people do like to do that. So I just thought I'd show that off for you. So if you want to go and do that, you can do. There we go. Let's carry on to the next. Right guys, on to another target. Just down there. It's another little artefact. I'm still working these lines. Solid 16s. And it's just down here. And it's just this tiny thing just here. But I think that is the remnants of a strap end. There's not much left to it, but we can see by the shape just there. And I think this is early, if I'm honest. I could be completely wrong, but I think that potentially is an early medieval strap end. Potentially. Well, you've got no way, because there's no discernible features on there to say, but I think that is. I think that's a strap end. I think that is. I wish there was a bit more on that. A little bit more detail just somewhere. But that's what I think that is. A little strap end. Early. That's fantastic. Amazing find. So let's carry on and see what else appears on the field. That's fantastic. On to the next. Alright guys, on to another little target just here. I'm not far, I'm just walking in this line again. The big tree features, it is right that way, and just down there we've got a little part, well, artifact, should I say. 19s, 20s, and it's just this one. And there we go, nice little buckle just there. Let me switch over and let's get some a better close-up on this before we go any further. Right guys, there we go. So that's what's just come up there. And I think that is a medieval buckle. I'm going to have a little clean up on here. I'm going to see whether there's any detail that comes through. But that's just in this little area again. We're starting to find some bits and pieces. Artifacts as well, which is nice, because a lot of it that comes up is coinage. Right guys, and there we are. That's all cleaned up there. You can see just there the indentation of where the pin would have gone across on there. I think we're talking about the medieval period. I think that is a lovely, lovely little find. Lovely. I do love a nice little buckle. You cannot beat them. They're so ornate, so small. But that is an awesome find. And to go with the other things that we found today, showing us some real activity on here. But I think there's a lot more to find on this field, a lot more, but that is absolutely brilliant. Let's carry on and see what else we can find. Right guys, just down there's another target. It's lead, but it's very cool. Let me show you the eyes. .28s through to 31s. I've not seen it all, so I could be wrong on what I think it is, but that's what I've seen, and I'm not sure whether that is a lead dice, which could be quite old. You see, oh, they right, we're going to spray it because I don't want to rub any details off there. If there is some, it could be just a square piece of lead by the time we've done this, but I was almost convinced. You see, look, that looks like 3. That looks like 4 to me. That definitely looks like a 1. That looks like a 6. This. So I think this is a lead dice. I'm almost convinced. Now, I found what I believed was a gaming piece on here, and they put it down as a gaming piece, but they also put the other one that I thought was down as potential lead weight. Now let me show you. So that looks like a 1 to me. And flip it here, look, that looks like 5. That looks like 3. That looks like 2. That would be 4, I would presume, although that looks like 5 as well, so maybe they were cheated. And that looks like 6 to me. That could be a medieval dice just there, which is absolutely stunning if it is. I think it is. Look, 1, 2, 3, 5. That makes no sense, but and then 4 and 6, and look how crude that is. So I mean, today looks like a day for artifacts, but that is a stunning little find. Absolutely love that. That is not that is old. It's at least medieval. Dice have been used in Roman times as well, but I think that's a medieval dice, and that would fit in with the gaming pieces that I've found on here as well. So that is stunning. That is an awesome find. Love it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Let's get some pictures. Let's get some pictures and we'll move on, but that is brilliant. Absolutely stunning. Another one down here. I thought it was a bit of trash, to be honest. I'll show you. In the 50s, it was coming up like high 90s and dropping down, and it's only because of that persistent 50s when it was in there with basically it was an iffy signal, but enough to make me dig it. And it's this just there, big bit of bronze. It's a pot leg. It's the bottom, it's the foot of a pot leg just there, and it's in quite good condition. I know it's obviously snapped just there, but it's really, really nice. Look at that. And that would have sat, that would have been the foot, and there would have been, the pot would have come up there and sat in the pot. It would have stood, the pot would have stood abreast from that. It was probably 3 pot legs, 3 feet and legs, and then it sat in there. So it's pretty cool. Nice. Another pot leg off here. We're having an artifact day, it seems, today, but you know, another great find. On to the next. Right, the dice was amazing, but just down here I think I found something that's absolutely stunning, and I'm not 100% sure and it's resting down there. If I'm honest, when we started I wasn't expecting much, but we found the cut quarter, daymaker already. The dice, the buckle, they're all stunning. The dice is amazing. I'm wandering along. I'm in a bit that really doesn't produce much. Should we have a look? I think it's stunning if it is. I mean, I'm saying I think it's stunning if it is, and I don't know what it is yet, but I think it's something, and I've got to be very careful with it, because I think it's still in one piece. Right, should we switch you over? Right guys, it's just down here. Let me show you what I can see actually. Let's flick you around. Right guys, that is what I can see. That is the other bit I can see. I've not had a look at it yet. Hello Mr. Worm. Can you remove yourself from... No. Right, okay, thank you. Right, that's what I can see. First thoughts, if we've got an annular brooch, I could be completely wrong, but I think it's fully intact. Right, enough of this. Let's switch you back onto my mount. Well, let's see, I don't want to touch it. Right, let's switch over, put you back on my chest mount, and we're going to see together. If it is, that's more than a day maker. That's absolutely awesome. That's what I can see. That's what I can see. Yeah, why don't you have your bets now at home what you think that is? Because I'm almost convinced that's an annular brooch. Right, let's switch it and have a look. Right guys, there we go. Haven't touched it. Okay. It's already coming away from the clump that's holding it in, and I've got to be very careful. So let's switch it over like this. Let's remove that little bit of clump up. It's hard with this sunlight. Okay. I think that's a silver annular brooch, I really do. Should we give it a little spray? Look at my hands shaking. Should we give it a little spray? And see. Trying to get you a good picture before we do that. That is stunning. Sorry guys for not talking, I am trying to see. I honestly think that's silver. And I think it's an annular brooch and it's fully intact. I want to be very careful with this. I can see some design up this top bit there. And we've obviously got this bit across here. I'm going to switch you. I'm going to do a little clean off camera and then we're going to come back, because I want to be as gentle as possible. And when you're trying to do it through this viewfinder and clean it so you can see it, yes, it's fantastic for you guys to see, but it's hard for me to look through it and then be very careful cleaning. So if you give me 2 seconds, we're going to have a very gentle clean up off camera and I'll be back with you. Alright guys, I am trying to get you into light. It's terrible when there's no light shining and it's dull to try and see this detail. Let me see if I can spin you around. Okay, so we've got, this is silver, this is an annular brooch, this is a bucket lister for me. You see round the top we've got some speckles of design up there. Okay, and then down here I am not sure whether this might have been had gold within it, because you can see little flecks just in there, but it's silver. Very careful, it is brittle. And that is the back side, and can you see these little flecks as well? But it's intact. That is Saxon. That is a Saxon annular brooch, and it is absolutely stunning. We're going to get some pictures. Oh my god, wow. This field is so amazing. It's so amazing. This is an absolute stunning find. Stunning. And I don't even think the camera can do this justice. From what I can see through the viewfinder, you're not seeing all the finer details, and I'm trying to get them to you. But that is stunning. Absolutely stunning. I'm so blessed to have this land. Absolutely amazing. To think all those years of ploughing, of putting crop in, of reploughing, and continuously going this land, and that survives. And that tells me there is Saxon coins on here too. So I'm very excited to keep going. That's amazing, absolutely stunning. I don't think it's worthy of a dance. You're not getting me dancing for that. It is an amazing find though. Whew. Stunning. Look at it, and look how tiny that is. Absolutely stunning. This day just keeps on getting better and better and better. We've had cut quarter up that way. We have had the dice in this line. Well, I've just moved over actually, coming back up the other side. We've had the dice, we had the Saxon, and I think we're on to hammered again, which will be 2 again for today. This field, I mean, it's just the field of dreams. That's the only way to describe it. It's down there anyway. I think we're on hammered, I think. 7s through to 11s, it is bouncing. And it's just this one. And I've just seen it. A little bit of it. And I think that is hammered. I think. I'm almost positive you can see that's hammered. And I think it's another voided long cross cut half, but this one's heavily clipped by the looks of it. We're going to have a spray up. But we're on to hammered again. Yeah, look at that. You see it coming through. It's absolutely stunning. Alright guys, there we go. And you can see it's a voided long cross. You can see it going straight up there. It's a cut half. You see where it's been cut just there. This will be Henry III again. And on the other side you can see with that way. Here we go. So you can see the details on that side. But it's another little cut half. This is one is heavily clipped, very small. compared to some of the other ones, the big beasts we've had, but it shows there's even more to find on here. Absolutely stunning. What a day. What a day. Another hammered. Another hammered. You see, I can't see the viewfinder at the minute, so I'm hoping you can see this detail just there. But it's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. There we go. Let's get some pictures and let's carry on, because I've probably got another 8 hours on this field and we're going to find some more stuff. On to the next. Right guys, I mean I'm not too far away from where the brooch has come up. We've just had a hammered. We're in this lane again. Just down there, some more silver. Bit more modern though, but another silver coin. It's just one of those days, like literally just one of those days. Let's go for VDIs. 75, 76. It's just down here, just in this clump, and it's this one there. And we can see there that it's a sixpence just there, and we can see 1860. So this is going to be a Queen Victoria one. The back looks nice condition. Let's see. Look, we've got a little imprint just there, and there's Vicky staring at us. But there we go. Let's have a look at this, because it looks like it's in really good condition. There we go. Have I caught that? That looks fresh as though I've caught that, which is that is rubbish. Let's have a little clean up. That looks like I've caught that. Unfortunately, that is fresh and I've caught that. I mean, however gutted I am about that, sometimes it just cannot be helped. I'm sure that's me that's just done that. Anyway, we have a silver sixpence. There we go. Little sixpence, and we can see 1856 on there. And we spin it over and we see a lovely bust of Queen Victoria. So another silver coin. That's 4 pieces of silver today, I think. So we've had the dice, silver annular brooch, cut quarter, cut half, and then this, that's the 4 pieces of silver, and then some various other bits. It's been a very, very, very good day, and I've probably got at least another, I said 8 hours a minute ago. I think I've got another 6 hours left on this field. Big, big, big long day today. But there we go, another bit of silver. That's stunning. If I only had this today, there'd be no complaints. Absolutely stunning. We'll hide that little bit that I've done, then it looks all nice and crisp and clean. Gutted, absolutely gutted about that. And I think what's happened is, it was just in this side wall here, and as I've put my trowel in, I must have caught that. I must have not gone deeper back, and I must have caught that as it's gone down, and it's that bit, look there, that must have clipped it. Must have. Right, we can't change anything. You just have to be very, very careful. But there we go. Absolutely stunning. Let's carry on, because it's just getting better and better and better. On we go. Alright guys, another bit of silver. 5 bits. This is old. Now, I didn't think it was hammered when it's just come out. I'll go over the VDIs first, and I'll show you. So 23s to 25s. It's just down here, look. Let me zoom in for you, look. So it's just down there, come out. You see, it's all bent over, but something in that corner tells me that that is hammered. I'm almost sure that is. So, let's get it out, let's get it cleaned. Stick you back on there, and we'll come up. And there, so that's what I've seen. And I think we're onto a full hammer here. Bent over, out of shape, but let's have a clean and let's see what we found. Now bearing in mind, most hammers that come off here are around about the Henry III sort of period. There's obviously others that's come off here, including Edward, and I think Henry VI. But let's see what this one is. Not catching much on there. Is this Irish? I've just seen that line down there. It's another Irish, isn't it? I'm almost positive that's the Irish. I'm sure I've just seen something that tells me that this is an Irish penny. We had the Irish farthing, Scottish cut half, and I think this, let me have a guess before we go any further. Edward I, Irish penny. Just from that little bit I've seen. And they're bent over like that, and there's all this mud. It does take some time just to get them out. And I can't tell you what's happened to this ground today, but I've barely moved from this line, these lines at the bottom. That tells me I think I'm right, and this is an eddy. Just there. Right, let's give it a slight brush up. Now I was in this area a couple of days ago, a few days ago. I was in all these areas. Every time I've been up here, I've been down this area. So, just goes to show you. The ground changes, things change. There we go. It's getting hard. Just get this last little bit out. I'll try another little spray. Guys, let's see what we've got. Let me switch over so we can see. Right guys, I hope we can see that a bit better now. I've just switched, and I think this is an Irish penny. You see this triangle that goes down here? An eddy will be somewhere there. You can just see the eyes and nose and mouth and the crown there. And then on this side we can see it's the long cross just there. Can I see? Can't quite see at the moment whether we can get a DBL. Is that it there? Yeah. Is that it? I think so. But I think there, onto an Irish Eddie penny. That's the second full Irish Eddie penny that's come off here. We've also had that Eddie farthing as well, or should I say King Edward. But there we go, another hammered coin off this field. Just an absolutely stunning day, stunning. Let's get some pictures and let's move on, because there's more. Right guys, sun just starting to come. We're on to yet another coin just down there. Brown, I think it's a sixpence, but more moderner. Solid 15s. Just go down and it's just here. Just there, that's what I'm seeing. It might actually be. Is that sixpence? I'm sure it's a sixpence. Let's have a look. Who have we got on here? That Lizzie. Just there. Yeah, there we go. Sixpence just there. And then we've got the date 1962. There we go. So another coin. Another one. Little Lizzie sixpence. There we go. We're finding all sorts of stuff today. There must have been some rain, there must have been some damping, because the signals are just pinging everywhere, and I'm barely moved out since we started this morning. What? I'm 20 foot from the edge coming this way, so I've barely moved out just doing these small lines. But it's another coin. Let's carry on and see what else we can find today. Just here, I think it's a bit of Roman pot. Literally this bit sandwiched through where it's been. It's not oxidised like the rest of it. It's sandwiched between all the way through, so that is a bit of Roman pot. There we go. Keep going. Guys, we're on to more silver. It could be old, I'm not sure. It looks like a broken ring. But I've seen something on it. It looks old. So we're gonna let's do VDIs, because this is turning into being an insane day. 1819s. Park that up. Take you down, and that's what I've seen. That there. Now it's silver. But that looks old. Old writing. Old. And I think it's snapped here. I'm going to give this a bit of a clean. I'm going to see what we've got here. But that looks old to me. Let's give it a bit of a spruce up. Right guys, here we go. So 100% sure what it's supposed to say at this moment in time. You can see it's broken off here. We've got a cross here. Looks like 1 and 2 to me, some flowers there. And this is where it gets difficult. Very difficult. I think this is old. Old. Right, let me see if I can decipher anything and I'll come back to you. Right guys, let's get you this on. This is silver. It's a broken ring. You can see where it's broken just there. And it would have gone all the way through there. Now to me, hold up, I've just seen that. You see where that fits into it there. So we're missing something. So it's broken there, but can you see that would have fitted in now? Which way round this goes, I would presume where the flowers are to the bottom, like that. And then we've got a cross there. What looks like Roman numerals 1 and 2. And then I'm not sure what this says to me. I mean, it looks runish. I'm not 100%. Let's see. That looks like a G to me. Could be wrong. That looks like an N. That looks like a U. But then we've got some more flower here. And then I and S and another flower. And then what looks like N and W. But it's... I'm not 100% sure, guys. But it's awesome. It's silver. It's old, as you can see. Look, no hallmarks whatsoever in there. Tarnished. I really am not sure on this one. Guys, if you can spot anything on here, let me get you better in focus. Right, here we go. So to me there, we've got a cross. Just there. Then we've got a 1, numerals, 2, numerals, flower. This to me looks like it's either a G or an S. But then we've got a cut into it just there. Then we've got an N, what looks to be an N. Then a U. Then we've got some flowers that are cut into that U. We've got an I, we've got an S. And then we've got an, what looks to me, oh, it might be N. Is it N and U? It's old, it's awesome, it's silver. It tops off a great day, and if any of you guys want to hazard a guess to the age of this, what it does say and what you think it is, that'd be absolutely amazing. To me, it looks old, like medieval. This looks like, doesn't look like it's, this looks like it's been done by hand. Again, I could be wrong, but it's got that look to it. So guys, what do you think? What do you think? I want you all to try and help me here. Let's get some pictures. I'm going to move on, but you know, I've got a... My hunch is that that's a medieval silver ring. Potentially. Let's get some pictures. We'll move on. Alright guys, we've finished up. I've done the outro and everything, so you're going to see the outro after this actually. But my wife just found this. And if we look, just there, look. It's a voided short cross, so that can be one of 4. It is a little bit rough, is probably the best way to describe it. We're probably not going to get an ID here on the field, probably needs a little bit more cleaning, but that's a 4th hammered for today. 4 hammers, 4. Look at that, stunning, absolutely stunning. 4 hammers for the day, can't beat that. There you go. You can get a couple of pictures, and then you'll see the outro that I've done before this. Right guys, we're just going to do a quick roundup. Not lasted as long, we're going to put that there for a second. Right, we're not lasted as long as what I thought, just literally got to get home, but we're going to go through a few of these, what we found today. So we've got this little pot leg, pot foot just there. Ignore these are from the other day. Didn't empty my pot, naughty boy. Couple of buttons just there, faceless. We've got this little buckle just here, beautiful little buckle, really happy with that, really nice. We've got this strap end that we found earlier, the little pigeon ring. We went through the numbers earlier, so if anybody wants to trace that, they can do. Little cord clasp there, and then we've got this 6pence there, and then we're going to go on to these, which, whew, it's been absolutely sensational. Look at that. So we've got, let's start with, this is what we found first off, which is a little cut quarter, probably with that nickel on London, I think. So London Mint cut quarter just there. We'll go with this one next. I hit this one, you'll see it on the other side just there. But little Vicky 6pence just there. We've got this little cut half that we found, Henry III, just there. We'll put that there for a second, because then we'll go on to this one, which saw earlier. Look, it's an Irish penny, just there. You can just see Edward I, Irish penny, complete. Only problem is it's bent over, but we might be able to anneal that back and straighten that out at some point. But then we go on to these, and I don't know which is my favourite out of these. I'm going to say that one, but we'll start with this one actually. This is absolutely amazing. Look at that, little lead dice, and I'm guessing it's medieval, could be wrong, but I think that is medieval. And the reason that I say that is because we found some gaming pieces on here, some lead gaming pieces, which were early medieval, and I would suggest this is probably early medieval too. But it's absolutely stunning, something like that surviving so long. Then we'll go on to this one, which I think is a medieval silver ring. Now I can't be 100% sure, and it's very hard to decipher, and I'm wobbling all over the place here. We went through it earlier, but it's hard to decipher all that's on there. But that is stunning. Look at the detail on there. Silver, and I think medieval ring. Okay, and then this one, and I'm not even going to touch this, simply because it is so delicate. So look at that, silver Saxon annular brooch, and it's got to be the find for me. Really has. It's intact, silver. You don't come across them very often. It's a bucket list for me. I'm so happy about that. But I mean, look at that. We've got 6 pieces of silver. Where's my, put it below there, and I like an idiot. 6 pieces of silver and the dice, and some real good history here. It's been an absolutely epic day. I'm going to spin you around. We're going to do the outro while I have a coffee. Right guys, that's the end of another episode, another epic episode back on here. 3 hammers, And if my maths is right, that's 12 in 3 visits. I think we've come away with 4, 3, 2, and then another 3 today. So that's absolutely stunning. Another Irish one, which is brilliant. I think that's 3 Irish off here, and 1 Scottish, I believe. The dice is absolutely stunning. But if that's not enough, we've got a little Saxon silver annular brooch. That's a bucket list ticked off for me. I've never found one of those. That's absolutely brilliant. And then a little medieval ring, which we're going to have to do some research on, and obviously it's going to the flow, so you know, we'll see what they say. But I mean, if anybody can decipher that from what I've shown you, go ahead and put it in the comments. But it's been absolutely sensational. I am absolutely knackered again. It's been a very long day, but again, worth it. I am very lucky to have this land to come and play on. Not everybody's so lucky, I do appreciate that, but you know, I've got to thank, you know, so blessed that we can come on here and it just delivers every single time we come on here. There's a reason why people like watching these episodes when I come up here, and there's a reason why I like coming up here for these episodes, because it's just history upon history upon history. We have great days up here, find some cracking stuff up here, and if you're new to the channel, go back and have a look, starting from, well, the very first episode, where we find 2 hammered, then a second episode with the gold, and then it's just a lot of great stuff found from there. So thank you very much for following me on my journey. Thank you so much for coming today, and thank you for digging with me all the way till the end. Great finds. As always, we're sponsored by Dragon Detecting, so for all your detector needs, to get 10% off most items, that's their logo there. That's our code, which is AMD10. You can also use that at Relics MD and at Swing and Did to get 10% off at those 2 stores as well. I think that's more or less it, apart from if you are sat at home and you are watching this and you are not subscribed, go and subscribe for me. And the reason I say that is because look at what comes up on this field. You don't want to miss an episode. Now we're back on here, harvesting's done, and all the fields that's around here, we're going to have some great episodes coming up. Thank you for staying with me today, and thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all your support. It's absolutely fantastic. You may be watching this after Detectable, I'm not quite sure. I've banked a lot of episodes up and they're all ready to go, and I think this one comes out as we get back from Detectable. So I think this one, I think the next episode you might see might be the Detectable one. Maybe, it depends on the timings, but you know, it's been absolutely, you know, I don't know, sometimes words escape me for the days we have. Like, just stunning finds, and you know, I'm lost for words as to try and get that through, and you know, through to you guys how much appreciated I am for the stuff that we find on here. But I've whittled on for far too long. A lot of you will have already switched off, and a lot of you will be saying shut up and move on. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Ads, and I'll see you in a field very soon.